you like don't know, practice test one, I'll send it to you. The PDF copies are available online. And also, like, thank you for being honest. And like, although the answers are available online, it's clear that you did honest work on this. And like, our you told me about that one math quiz. I've done that before also. Like, I went to a history class where I like memorized like 46 multiple choice questions, like from being like absent, blah blah blah. I'm just humoring you, but anyway, like, like it's obvious as always that you give it your, like, your best, and you work hard. Like, your work ethic is never questionable. But like, what is it like? We need to go. I need you to see, like, to go over a couple of like the practice tests, right? Like, so the one you did with the other place, like, so the practice test one, that I have the answers. The lady gave it to me. And so we need to go over that, like, maybe not Thursday or Wednesday, because like we still have like a lot to do in the second half, like the calculator section of practice test 2, which is my test that you did. You didn't miss a lot of questions on that. Like, so the calculator section went better than the non-calculator section, and we'll fix all of this. You'll do great. But in any case, like, when we meet next time, if we only like spend 30 minutes on my stuff, then we will be able to go back and look at like what the lady sent me. And then we'll go over those questions. And after you've had like the benefit of those sessions, then I'll need you to sit down for a practice test for just my math section, and you'll be able to do that over this coming weekend. But basically, like, we need to hammer this, because we have some progress to make. Also, like, so the old SAT was like, back when I took it, blah blah blah. Like, you might not even know that there was an old SAT. It was changed like 7 years ago or whatever. Anyway, it used to give you a penalty for wrong answer. It used to deduct like a quarter of a point if you guess and get it wrong, right? But this SAT, the one you're taking, it doesn't give any penalties for wrong answers. Therefore, it makes no sense to omit a multiple choice question. So if you have a multiple choice question, like, you have no clue how to do it, guess. This is just like, the big picture strategies. But you're not going to have to guess by the time we're done, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all right. So, have your email open. I have my email on my phone. I have my email open with the work that you have. And so, the score report that I sent you, if you could also open that, we could just, well, you don't need to open it. I need to open it. So, like I said, looking at that, we need to work hard, and I'm sure you will. And make sure that we secure a really good score in June, right? Like, so, as I told your mom, my goal is like to make sure that we secure a really good score in June. Say like a good score would be like a 670 or a 680, right? So if you get that, then like, we can prepare after you have a little bit of break over this summer, and I will prepare you for the August test, so that way, like, our target will then be like breaking into the 700s, which will be like wonderful. That will put you in play for any school. Like, it doesn't matter how good the school is. If you score like above the 700, that is a really good place to be. Fair? Okay, thank you very much as always for, like, like, I'm going on and on and on, for like being patient and listening. But yeah, like, so, like, first question we need to go over is 3. And since I did a bit of talking here, like, I need you to read all of the questions that we need to go over. And so read 3 for out loud for both of us, please. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you said the price of every job increases by $12 per hour, and um, sorry, the correct answer is C. So, like, like, part of I'll just be honest with you, because I always am. And part of why, like, I like took a little bit of time getting to this SATs, because I don't particularly enjoy doing SAT prep. Like, obviously you're like my kiddo, and I want to make sure you're taken care of, and you're in best hands, as you know. But like, some of what discourages me are these long word problems. So like, I don't know. That it's so the correct answer is A. says the company charges 12 per hour for each landscaper. And you picked the. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. You did well. The price of every job increases by $12 per hour. I don't know. I could have gotten this question wrong also, so it's like it's an awkward question. I forgive you. Like redeem yourself on the next one. I don't have much to say. Then the correct answer is A. But like, hold on. Yeah, it makes sense. 12 NH. Sorry, where N is the number of landscapers and H is the total number of hours the job will take. So the company charges 12 per hour for each landscaper, and H is the total. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. That makes sense. Like because well, you tell me. Does it make sense? Okay. Sorry. Um. Okay. The next one that we need to go over is four. So sorry. For four, yeah, a kiddo. Like I got you on this one. So like, hold on. Like so, this is a super 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 important item for the SAT. And you know, from our we did algebra together, so you know you should know this from our algebra work. But like, what is a plus b quantity squared equal to? Well, well, sorry. Since there are a and b in the like in the SAT question, let me use different set of letters. So what's x plus y quantity squared equal to? Uh, Look up at the board in your room on the site. Go ahead. And then plus. Go ahead. Yes, beautiful. Exactly. Excellent. So this is super, super, super important for your success on the SAT. I cannot emphasize that enough. It's called the binomial square, right? And you don't need to know the name of it, but as you just recited it to me, you need to be able to recite it. And they ask for it like in a variety of creative ways, right? Such as this question. Now, it might not be clear that the expression given is a binomial square, uh, because like it has fourth powers and whatever, right? Like so, like let's write it. It's 9a to the fourth plus 12a squared b squared, um, and then plus 4b squared, right? Now, so the how would you identify that it's a binomial square? Well, because like if you look at the relationship between the exponents on x and y, right? Like those are squared, and then these are like one. So it's like divide them by two. So it's, the same is true. Like this is to the fourth, and this. Sorry, I miswrote. This one is four here. So this is to the fourth. Both of those are to the fourth, but the middle ones are half of them. So that's how you'd recognize that it's a binomial square. Now, if I said this is exactly of this form, what would I have to claim as x? What would x have to be? Huh? And there's a number in front of it. What number? Yes, yes, exactly. Beautiful. So it's 3a squared. That's x. And then what's your guess for y? I'm proud of you. I'm happy about that. Like you can't see it, but I'm smiling. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, it's like I like, like we make a great team, but like you're smart. Like there's no question about that. Like and also like on your score on this. Oh, I didn't say this. So on the calculator section. So your the score that I sent you. Like first of all, on the verbal section, like there's a score on it. Ignore that. It's like from the student Nick I worked with a couple of years back. Blah blah blah. So I was using the same template. But like on the math, on the calculator section, section 4 of the math, there are three questions that I did not get in your text. So you can see, but if you flip through the text that you sent me, problems 22, 23, and 24 are missing. So on the score report, if you see an O, it means omitted. So again, on a multiple choice, do not omit a single question, just guess. And maybe in the future we can talk about guessing strategies. But anyway, like on the calculator section, the three O's, 22, 23, 24, I italicized them on purpose to say that like They're different from the other O's because you didn't omit them. You just didn't send me a picture of those questions. So I'll like rescore after I see those 3 questions. So your score will improve a little, and you may be a little tired, but you know that that score does not do your math skills justice. And again, like we'll do great. Don't worry. Anyway, where we're at, right? Like you claimed X here, you claimed Y here. The only thing you have to do is check if the middle term is 2xy, if 2xy is this here. And it is, because if we write 2xy based on what you told me should be x and y, we'd have to write 2 times 3a squared times 2b squared. And so then that's going to say 2 times 3 times 2, that's 12, a squared, b squared. That's exactly the middle term, 12a squared, b squared, right? And so then all you have to do now is, like, not just now that you've recognized x and y, just claim that it is the left-hand side, which is what would x plus y squared be based on your claim of what x and y are. Yeah, like we know that x plus y squared is the right-hand side. So then by comparison, if this right-hand side has x being 3a squared and y being 3b squared, then what is the left side is going to have to be? I asked that in an awkward way. I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's okay. It's okay. As soon as I write it, you'll get it. 3a squared plus 2b squared whole squared. Okay. So what's the correct answer? Yeah, exactly. Like now, listen. Like so, you're gonna see questions of this variety like coming up. Like again, I guarantee it. That's why I like reiterated how important this item is. And so like you'll jump over it next time, and like I have no doubt. And so don't worry about this one. The name of the game on the SATs just build familiarity. So you practice enough, you'll do great. Like you have the brain, that's for sure. Okay. Sorry. So the next question that we need to go over is so we just went over 4, and obviously what I'm gonna say is don't omit next time. So you omitted 7. So and it's perfectly fine, but like this is easy for you, Julia. You know how to do this. So you have x to the a squared over x to the b squared. So if we were to write this as x to a power, what would exponent rules say when you divide? Yeah, you just told me, like, and it's like I didn't tell you that. You said it. So like you should know to do that on the test. You got it. Like it's just a practice test, no big deal. So it's like x to the a squared minus b squared is what we would write, right? So we're told that this is equal to x to the 16. Fine. Well, the bases are the same, which is this is x and this is x. So what could I deduce from this? A sorry, a squared minus b squared equals what? Huh? Compare compare exponents right there and right there. No, but like, hold on, sorry. So it's a little bit me, right? Like, so don't worry. So we're told that x squared, x to the a squared over x to the b squared is equal to x to the 16. So the reason why we needed to write x to a single power, namely using exponent rules as a squared minus b squared, is because we needed to compare the exponents and claim a squared minus b squared is equal to what? Yeah, like be braver. Like don't question your skills. Yeah, exactly. We wrote x to a single power, although it has parts, a squared minus b squared. So now we can compare. The left side and the right side both have x as a base, so the exponents have to be equal, meaning a squared minus b squared has to equal 16. But then A squared minus B squared factors. How does it factor? Difference of squares. I'll get you started. A plus B times. Yeah, we need to own this guy. Just like the binomial square, difference of square, super super important. Got it. Now you're told A plus B is 2, so we have 2 times A minus B is equal to 16, meaning that A minus B is equal to what? Yes. Okay. So the correct answer is A. This is a question well within your skill level, but it's okay. Again, like you know, well, okay, enough said. So 8 is next. 8, you didn't omit, but let's see, what is 8 about? So, um, geez, another like reading. So go ahead and read it. Okay. So so the n is the number of sides. So we're trying to make n as big as possible. And this is a really interesting question. It's cool. So now, like we're told, I haven't looked at these in a while. We're told that a is greater than what? That's right. Now, and do they say it has to be a regular polygon of the measure of an exterior angle? What is the greatest number of sides it could have? So we're trying to make n as big as possible. So if n times a, where a is more than 50, we want that to be as big as possible. Then, like, obviously, a is greater than 50 means it could be like 90, it could be like 120. But if we want n to be big, like, what kind of value should we pick for a? Should we make a big, like 120, or should we attempt to make a small to make n big? Yes, exactly. We need to pick a to be as small as possible. And since they said more than 50, we can make it 51. So if we did that, we have 51 times n is equal to, it's not going to work out perfectly, but it'll give us an estimate. 360. Dividing by 51 on both sides, um, I suppose we could make it 60 and get a rough idea. So instead of 51. So dividing by 60 on both sides, cancel here, 36. So 6 is the correct answer, or should be the correct answer. Let's see. What do we have for 8? Whoa, no. I got it wrong. Like, hold on. 8, it says C. Hold on. How? 7? Yeah, well, I suppose it's because, like, we picked 60. Like, I'll tell you why I picked 60, right? Like, well, you already helped me answer the question, which is we said we want to make n as small as possible. But the only reason I picked 60 is because this is the no calculator section, right? And so I wanted to, whatever, I don't know how to spell calculator. I wanted to, like, be able to divide 360 easily without a calculator. So it's like not fair that they put this on the no calculator section. Speaking of which, I'm reminded of this, which is like, so sometimes they will put a question on the calculator section that doesn't have anything to do with using a calculator. So it's just to test whether or not you know, like, when to go to the calculator and when not to go to the calculator. So on the calculator section, there are usually like 3 to 4 questions where a calculator is not useful at all. And whereas I think, as far as test design, they should put this on the calculator section because, as you said, we want we want a as small as possible. And what I said to pick is 51. As had we picked 51, we would have gotten to the correct answer 7. But I just didn't know how to divide 360 by 51. Didn't want to do it. Anyway, excuses, excuses. The correct answer is C, and we've done all the reasoning that we need, like, to be happy. So I'm happy to move on. All right. So the next one is 9. Again, what I'm going to say about 9 is please do not omit. So you omitted 9. Okay, it's okay. Don't worry for now. Okay. Shoot, that's a wordy problem. But anyway, read it out loud for both of us, please. Okay, so you wrote a lot of good work, right? Like so, like like I applaud you for that. Like this question is beneath you, so like we need to get this question right. Like next time you have a question like this, first of all, like there's the y equals mx plus b, and then there's an equivalent form y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1, right? And this one is called the point slope form, and the other one is the slope intercept form. And the point slope form is, again, you don't need to know the names. The point slope form is like convenient because you only need a slope and a point, like that you're given that for the first line. So we can immediately write the point slope form of the first line. So what would the point slope form equation of this first line be? Well, okay, so you got there. You use it. Get there using this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right, but like get there using this right here, what I just boxed in red. Hmm. And 1 and 8 represent what in that first form? They represent x1 and y1, which is the point. So and therefore the name point slope form. So help me write it in that form. Now y equals y minus y1. Yep, that's right. And here, if we isolate y, right, like we can get to the slope-intercept form. So you can quickly isolate y. So that's going to say y minus 8 is equal to 2x minus 2. And then adding 8 to both sides, you're going to get y is equal to 2x plus 6. Now, so the reason why I love the point-slope form, right, when you're given a point and a slope, is because from it, you can quickly get to the, once you get to the, first of all, given a point and a slope, you can very quickly write the point slope form. From there, you could quickly isolate y and get to the slope intercept form. So I just did that. So we have the first equation, the first line, y equals 2x plus 6. For the second line, I think that's where you showed a lot of work. So you did the slope, which is 1 minus 2 over 2 minus 1. So that's negative 1. So one thing is like you wrote 1, that's negative 1. So do careful work, careless. Moving too quickly is part of our problem, I know. And so this is going to say negative 1. Now, so this is m. Got it. And so once again, like you can write the point slope form very quickly, and from there you can get to the slope intercept form. Now here you have 2 points available. Using either of the 2 points, now that we've got the slope, help me write the point slope form of this second line. What is it? Yep. For point, you can use either of the 2 points. That's right. Okay. Sorry. Y minus 2. Yeah, so you use this one. Exactly. And yeah, and like, if you use the other point after you get y by itself, you will see that they get to the same place. But we don't need to prove that. Like, anyway, so your next step would be like y minus 2 equals negative 1, distribute the negative 1. Well, it's just negative 1x, so I'll just write negative x and then plus 1. But then you add 2 to both sides, right? And so you're going to get y is equal to negative x plus 3. And so then, the second line has this equation. Sorry. And we need them to intersect. We're seeking the point of intersection a comma b. Well, now if you have two lines or two equations, two functions, period, how do you find their point of intersection? Huh? It's okay. You set them equal. So we set 2x plus 6, one of the y's, equal to the other y, which is minus x plus 3. And it's a layup beyond here. So talk to me and I'll write. So finish solving from here. Yeah, sure. I agree. Good. That's a good start. Yep. We could do that at the same time. And so you have 3x on the left. What do you have on the right? That's right. And so x is. That's right. Now we need a comma b. We just got x equals negative 1. Which of the two does that represent? Well, we need the point of intersection, but we need both a and b, the x coordinate and the y coordinate of the point of intersection. So what did we just find? And therefore, we need the point AB. Yeah, it's okay. I don't need you to read my mind. So A is negative 1. Now we need to find B. How do we find B? Yeah, say that. Why were you gonna say it? That's exactly right. It's two lines. It's their point of intersection. So at the point of intersection, they have the same x and y. So we don't prefer one of the lines over the other. We can plug in negative 1, the x coordinate, into either, and we'll get the corresponding y coordinate. So y is going to equal 2 times negative 1 plus 6. So y is equal to negative 2 plus 6, and therefore y is equal to what? Yes, good. So negative 1 comma 4, that's the correct answer. But we've got to answer the question, which is, it's asking us for a plus b. So now we need to add them. Oh, big deal. We don't know how to add negative 1 and 4. So the correct answer is B, 3. Okay. Next is, so, I think you agree that question is beneath you. It has a few things that we have to jump around, but, okay. Sorry. Was that 9? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Next is 11. So we have to do 11 through 14, not a big deal. And again, 13 was an omit, and so don't omit next time. So 11. Well, yeah, some of them I'm like, kiddo, you know how to do this. Okay. So 11. This is very important. Complex numbers are on the you did algebra over I know I've said this before, over 7 weeks. So I am more than happy to remind you of some of the items. Yeah, you have this, right? So you're dividing two complex numbers. When you're dividing two complex numbers, the thing to do is always multiply both the numerator and denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. Now, if you have a plus bi, its conjugate the conjugate is a minus bi, right? Um, so we need to multiply here and here by 8 minus 2i, 8 minus 2i. So again, always do this when you see a question like this where you're dividing one complex number by another. Take the conjugate of the denominator and multiply both numerator and denominator by that conjugate. That's the thing you do. Now, notice that if I have a plus bi, I'm just going to tell you the general result. We've done this, but a long time ago. So, and we multiply by the conjugate a minus bi. You can FOIL yourself, bud, and find out. But the answer is going to always be a squared plus b squared. It's always going to work out this way. And so therefore, like the denominator, once we multiply these two, is just going to be a real number because a, 8 is a real number, and b, which is 2, is a real number. Now, from what I just said, what is going to happen when we multiply 8 plus 2i and 8 minus 2i? What should the result be? Plus the b is what multiplies I. Yeah, it's 2 squared. Like, yeah, like even there, like I don't get the hesitation, bud, because like you're like more than halfway there, right? Like you knew what to say. Just say it. Don't worry. Like, okay. Now, in the numerator, you have foiling work to do because they're not conjugates. 3 minus 5i and 8 minus 2i don't have much to do with each other other than they're both complex numbers, right? So we need to FOIL in the numerator. But always multiply by the conjugate of the denominator when you're dividing two complex numbers. I'm intentionally repeating myself. Now, in the numerator, we need some FOILing. So you need to multiply here, FOIL. So talk to me. What are we going to get when we do that? Mm-hmm. Yes, 10i. Yes, it's okay. It's okay. And what's I squared? You got it. One. Yeah, the square root of -1 is I. So what is I squared going to be? -1. It's okay. So square root of, yeah, don't worry. Square root of -1 is I, and I squared is equal to -1 are synonymous. They're one and the same thing. Now, we do need to know like I to the fourth, blah, blah, blah. So in a future session, maybe after you do one more practice test for me over the weekend, we'll take a break from practice tests and I'll just send you worksheets that I've already created for the SAT, and I'll make you like practice these items and refresh your memory again. You like did algebra over 7 weeks, so no big deal. Now I squared is -1, so right here this is -1, and so then we have more simplifying work to do in the numerator. So like this is 24, and then obviously in the middle we have minus 46i, minus 6i, and minus 40i. They're kind of like terms, and we combine them like that. But then we have 10i squared, that's minus 10. And then the denominator, 8 squared is 64 plus 2 squared is 4. So 64 plus 4, I believe, is 68. Yeah. Okay, so now we have 24 minus 10, because we can subtract those. That's 14 minus 46i over 68. And this is kind of like the path you need to take on problems like these. Now, if you look at the answer choices, they're all separated. So 14 over 68, and then minus 46 over 68, and then the I chilling on the side, which really means that it's in the numerator as we had it there. And the second part, blah, blah, blah. And now notice this is written in A plus BI form. It's just B is a negative number. And sure, we need to simplify. Like we need to cut this and this in half. So that's going to give us, what, a 7 over like a lot, 34. And I think that's like as much as it simplifies. And only 2 of the answers have that. And the other one also simplifies. This is 23, right? When we cut it in half, 23 over 34, and there's a minus sign between, so the correct answer is C. Okay. 12, read it. Okay. So, like, so this is solving for a variable, right? Like you're given an expression and then you're asked to solve for one of the variables in that expression. This is very typical of this SAT exam. It will give you, just like the binomial square that I mentioned earlier, there will be other questions that are gonna ask you to solve for a variable. Very easy stuff. In particular, this one is easy. Like, I forgive you though, because again, you might have been tired, blah, 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 but this is beneath your skill level because I know where your skill level is. Now, it does, and so another thing is, like, if we go back, like, to one of the questions, right? Like, so, like, the points question, I don't know if you were paying attention while you were reading, right? But as you were reading, I was summarizing what was stated. Like, they had a lot to say, right? Like, it was a wordy question with the points, blah, blah, blah. But I succinctly summarized everything that was in there, like, and what I wrote here. M equals 2, point next to it, blah, blah, blah. So you should do that on your test. Like, I mean, you have your own strategies and whatnot, but just, like, quickly summarize. So I bring that up to say, like, problem 12, it's very wordy, but, like, all it's really is saying, like, you have this equation, solve for the one of the variables, but they didn't say solve for f, so they made you, like, engaged, which of the following is favorable. So they said f is, so they could have just said, like, here's a formula, solve for f. So ignore the words, or the wordiness is what I'm saying. Okay, and my mind also. Anyway, the thing to do in a question like this is to write the left side over 1 and cross multiply. So if we did that, then upon cross multiplying, what would I have to write? Yep, good. Rn plus Rf. Excellent. That's this that cross in the cross multiplication. Equals what? Yes, exactly. But remember, the name of the game in this question is to solve for f. So you need things that have f on the same side. So what should I do? Yep, exactly. Minus Rf here. Minus Rf here. So then you have Rn on the left side equals f minus Rf on the right side. Okay, then, but this guy doesn't have an R in it, so what we need to do is first factor out an f on the right side. Don't worry. So, like, kind of like, yeah, don't worry. Like, jot this in your head for other questions. Now, if we factor out an f from the right side, I should write f times parenthesis what? It should go in the parenthesis. 1 minus r, exactly, excellent, for knowing that there's a 1 multiplying that f, really. So once the f is gone, we need a placeholder, that 1, like once the f is outside the parenthesis. Okay, so finally what we need to do is divide by 1 minus r on both sides, so we do. And so then we can cross this here. So we get f is equal to Rn over 1 minus r. And there's an answer choice, B, that says that. Okay, now, kiddo, like, so, like, just to be a little bit more efficient on this, going over this and stuff, I'm going to, like, ask you to do this question on your own, redo it. So I'm not assigning you any homework ahead of, like, our session Wednesday or Thursday. And we do need to meet that soon because we need to get the ball rolling, as I said. Sorry. So it's just a quadratic equation. So I could have written it I can give you the tip. I could have written it as, like, 2x squared minus 16x plus 8 equals 0. And so you know how to solve the quadratic formula. So instead of x, they're using m, but the quadratic formula tells us that the answer is, the two answers are x equals minus b blah 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 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And so, you have your factoring method, the AC method. I remember you like owning that, mastering it, like not just with me, but also with your teacher in the classroom. But like, so you could use that to try and factor something where like, the leading coefficient is not 1. But you could always use the quadratic formula on a quadratic. And this is a quadratic, even though it uses m. And this is two answers, one of them with a plus, the other with a minus. So use the quadratic formula, find one of the answers, find the other answer, and then I think they say, what is the sum? So you need to add them. So after you find both of them, you need to add them, and then the correct answer will be there. So we just knocked that out, like, without actually doing it. So I'll ask you to do that for homework. I'm pretty sure, like, you got that. So next is 14. Okay, so 14 is, sorry. Please don't be a word problem. Okay. I'm only gonna do just this section for today, if that's okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you had a long day, and literally, like, was gonna say, like, if it was a really wordy problem, if we could end here, but I'll push through, like my eyes are like literally sleepy as we speak. But anyway, I'll read 14 out loud for both of us. Okay, no worries. So you were almost there on this question. So first of all, like it's like the original amount will always be p, and then it will be like something to a power, right? That something there is the percentage, right? So it's saying decays. So decaying at 13% means minus 0.13, but then 100% is one. If 13% is 0.13, 100% is one. So you need to do one minus the decay, which is 0.13, and so the remaining percentage is 87%, which is 0.87. So the correct answer should be A. And I'll look, because I was once wrong, right? Like, so 14. 14, the correct answer is A. All right. So we can now go to 17. So good job in between. Um, yeah, I was particularly impressed by 15 because it's arguably like the hardest question, if not one of the hardest. It's in the top 2, 3 of the hardest questions on this section. 15, and I might ask how you did it. Obviously, I know you didn't cheat or anything like that, but I'm very impressed that you got that one. So good job. So 17 is the next one, and hey, like you should have gotten this one. Wait, what? Like, hold on. How did you get 17 wrong? Because it looks like you did a lot of great work, and maybe I got it. Well, yeah, I don't know if you forgot to, like, because you wrote 9. The correct answer is 19. You know what? We can skip 17 because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read through your work because I didn't. I just graded it, right? Like I just looked at your answers. I didn't look at your work. So I'm gonna look through your work and try to figure out what happened, and I'll fix it next time. Okay, I won't forget. Okay, and so 19. The first thing I'm gonna say is don't leave it blank. There are no penalties. But 19 is done, and I liked what you said. No idea. That's funny. Sorry. You're cute. So, sorry. Uh, draw a straight line. Okay, so you have a circle. Like on this circle is this point here, and the point is root 3 comma 1, and it's A. And so it says in the xy plane, O is the center of the circle, and oh, how well timed, because here's B, here's O, and here's A, and so angle AOB is what we're talking about, right? And so and we need it in radians, and that's why I said well timed, because our last lesson was about radians and such. Anyway, like you gotta remember your two triangles, the 30, 60, 90, and the 45, 45, 90. So that's from geometry and way back. But like this is 30, and you now know 30 is pi over 6, and this is 60, right? And that's pi over 3. And so whenever opposite the 30 is 1, opposite the 60 is root 3, and the hypotenuse is 2. So this is what I need you to memorize. The 30, 60, 90, including, the knowing 30 is pi over 6, blah, blah, blah. That like you mastered the radian stuff real quick. But anyway, you need to remember this triangle, need to remember it. I cannot emphasize enough, like how important it is for this test. Likewise, the 45, 45, 90, which is perhaps a little bit easier to remember. And that's 1, 1, root 2. And this is 45, and this is 45. And so, no surprise that they're the same sides. The angles from across from 1 and 1 are the same, and so the sides are also the same. Now, just quick quiz from our last lesson in Algebra 2. What should 45 degrees be in radians? 4. Yes, pi over 4. Because 180 is pi, so 90 is pi over 2. And so a quarter of 180, or half of 90, is 45, which is pi over 4. Exactly. And always go back to the reference, like 180 is pi. Whenever you need to know what 60 is, blah, blah, blah. For example, we wrote that 30 is pi over 6 because, well, 180 divided by 6 is 30. Okay, anyway. So now, if you make a triangle out of the situation that you're given, right? When life gives you lemons, make triangles. So if you make a triangle out of the situation that you're given here, this here is the y value of the point. So that's 1. And this here is the x coordinate of the point. So that's root 3. So you have 1 root 3, and then the hypotenuse then is 2, because 1 root 3 and 2 are involved. Well, as soon as you knew 1 and root 3 were involved, you had to know the hypotenuse had to be 2, and that this is about the 30, 60, 90 degree triangle. And so then this angle right here, what must this angle be here? This one right here. It's okay. It's okay. Hmm? Sure, but you're overthinking. Think back to your 30, 60, 90. So what should that, like, because this is a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle. As soon as we found out that this height is 1 and this bottom is root 3, we wrote a 2 on the hypotenuse to complete it, but it's a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle. This triangle, these two triangles are super popular on the SAT. That's why I need you to memorize them. Anyway, what's that angle now? Yeah, but we need the radians since they wrote pi over a. So pi over what? What's 30 in radians? Huh? Huh? Yeah, pi over 6. So a is? You're overthinking. They just said, what is it in radians? So they wrote pi over a, therefore a is? Yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. All right, but I might need to do we'll play by ear. If you're tired, we can stop at the hour mark. Blah blah blah. We ended a little early today. Blah blah blah. But when we meet, so pick whichever day you pick, Wednesday or Thursday. Pick whichever is lighter as far as everything else you have to do. Okay. Okay, cool. What's up with Wednesday?